This is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, your place for all things Wisconsin sports. Now, your host, Trage.
How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is the first time we'll be here on 5 o'clock, on at 5 o'clock instead of the 7 o'clock hour. If you guys have heard the show before, we usually shoot at 7, but instead we're on at 5 tonight here. So a little bit of a bump up, right? We had the radio. They came to me over the weekend, in last week there, and they're like, hey, idea. Right. Let's move this thing up to 5. We've always been talking about ways to improve, ways to, expand the show. And we're like, hey, let's move it up to 5 o'clock hour there. We'll move Bill. The huddle will start at, I think it's going to start at 7. So it'll be 7 to 9 there with the huddle after here. So we'll have Bill Michaels after the show here and then the Luke Fickle show. So 5 hours straight of Wisconsin sports talk. What else could you want? What else could you possibly want? Especially after the weekend that we had there. It was a good weekend there all the way around. I got a little sniffles off the weekend there. My kid, he was, I think it was Thursday night. He got sick, and the wife was like, well, can you stay home on Friday with him? I was like, yeah, I can stay home on Friday with him. Well, I think I took too many hacks and sneezes to the face because I got sick on Saturday then, and then the wife got sick on Sunday. It was one of those kind of weekends there, but the whole time I was like, I wish I could be sick like you because he's jumping around. He's having the time of his life, still giggling, still laughing. It's like, when I get sick, I'm like, I just want to lay down. So it was a good weekend all the way around. He's feeling better. We're all feeling better. Still trying to work past it. So if I sound a little like, I don't know if you call it nasally or whatever, that's what's going on here. So anyways, enough about that. I hope you guys are enjoying your Wednesday and your night here, but we got lots to get into tonight here on the show. We're going to talk a little Badgers. Christian's going to be stopping by here. I believe Christian's going to be stopping by, I would say next year on the show. We're going to have him stop by. We're going to talk a little Badger football here because the Badgers, I believe, in my opinion, left a lot to be desired coming off this last weekend. There was a lot left to be desired once again. I don't know. I'm going to hear what he has to say. I'm going to hear what Christian has to say because Christian, I'm in the camp of Luke Fickle's doing an okay job and everything like that, but we're going to discuss because I want to hear what he has to say because there's a lot of fans right now who don't feel like the program's heading in the right direction. There's a lot of fans who are like, okay, we got to pump the brakes. But then there's the middle ground, and that's where I'm kind of at. It's like, what do I need to see to feel good about this team and about the direction of the program? Because it still feels like there's some struggle. And I don't know if it's new coordinator. Hopefully Christian can talk me into it. So we're going to get into a little bit of Badgers here. I mean, the Badgers got the win. That's what matters. But they got a big test coming up with Bama. So we're going to talk about that here. Probably next up here on the show. We got a little Packer talk to get to. Packers beat the Lions over the weekend. They're not just a beat. They didn't just beat them. That was a beatdown. And coming off this weekend, and we're going to talk about it. Umber's going to stop by later. We're going to talk more Packers. But coming off this weekend, the Packers, to me, showed they are the team to beat in the NFC North. I don't want to get crazy. I don't want to get crazy talk, right? I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. Like some fans already calling a Super Bowl run. But I honestly, watching that team and then watching whatever that was on Monday night there between the Vikings and the Bears collapse once again, I just can't. Caleb Williams, he might have all the talent in the world, but that is just a downhill slope right now for Caleb Williams right now. 3 head coaches. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's getting better. It really doesn't. And I don't hate Ben Johnson, so hopefully maybe at some point he figures it out with him. But right now, man, oh man. So the Bears got a lot to figure out. I think the Vikings won, but I think the Vikings are still there. I don't know. They're middle of the pack. I don't think they upgraded at quarterback. I don't know what I would have ran it back with Sam Darnold. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he would have had the same hit as what he did last year, but I'd have ran it back. That's all my opinion on that one. So we're going to talk NFL with Kyle here later on in the show. So we'll make sure to get to that kind of talk with him later on there. But that Packers-Lions game, I think the Packers showed they are the top team in the NFC North. I really do. That is my biggest takeaway. And maybe we'll call it an overreaction Wednesday here or something, but that is definitely what I took away is watching that team. That's a darn good team, and they are going to go as far as Jordan Love can take them because all in all, together, There's a new juice in that locker room. There's a new life. The way Matt LaFleur and Hafley outcoached Dan Campbell. It's been a while since they outcoached Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell just at a loss for words. This team, the Lions, for being this big old tough, nitty group, they just seemed like they got manhandled in the trenches. It just looked like a different Packers team. It felt different from what we even saw last season to start the year. So, like I said, we're not going to get crazy with it. We don't want to call Super Bowl run. But this Packers team right now, pretty darn good. And we're going to find out more about this team tomorrow as they're going to be taking on the Commanders there on Thursday Night Football. They're a quick turnaround. Got some injuries to worry about. But this team right now, love what we're seeing. We're going to talk about it later on here in the show, so make sure you're sticking around for that. We got some Brewers talk to get to here tonight on the show. The Brewers, the magic number continues to drop as they won that series over the weekend there against the Pirates. I tell you what, over that weekend, it didn't just make it great that the Packers won. It didn't just make it great that the Badgers won, even though I'm telling you that there's some, it's my worry with this Badger team. Even though there was the worry with the Badgers, but they still won, right? And the Packers won. The greatest part was that the Cubs lost 2 games to the Nationals. That made my weekend. Nationals fans, if you're out there, if you're listening, Nationals fans, thank you. Thank you, Nationals, for taking care of the Cubs. That was awesome. That was 2, because I saw the Brewers winning, and I'd check the scoreboard, and I'm like, no way. Nationals got the lead, and I'm like, just hang on to lead. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, how are they going to hang on to lead? I don't even know half of these guys on the Nationals team. And they took it to them. That's a decent team out there in the Washington Nationals, and they got a special place in our heart now that they took care of the Cubbies there over the weekend because pushed the Brewers lead out a little bit there in that NL Central, dropped the magic number. The magic number continues to go down for this team. Brewers made some moves, and they made the right move. Everybody was like, what are they going to do? How are they going to have Hoskins come back? And I said it was easy. I even posted it over there. I dropped it out on Facebook. There was a post, I think it was by the Brewer Fanatic, and they're like, Jake Bowers is making it hard for the Brewers to make a decision on what to do when Rhys Hoskins comes back. And I'm like, this isn't hard. This isn't rocket science. Hoskins, boom, back on the bench. Jake Bowers, boom, back on the bench. You want him to be maybe a outfielder one day, whatever, throw him out there. You want him to be a DH? Sure. You want him to play first base? He can do it with the best of them. He's pretty darn good. Jake Bowers is pretty good first baseman. Andrew Vaughn, as much as I don't want to see him at third base, has been taking ground balls over there. Isaac Collins can actually play the infield. And we saw Sal. I don't know whatever happened to the pipe dream of Sal Frelick playing third base. I don't know if it's actually a good idea or not. I don't know. We haven't really seen it full-fledged yet. But we know Sal's got that in his back pocket somewhere. You have Andrew Monasterio on the bench. I mean, you have options. Bryce Terang can slide over. Durbin can slide around. You have versatility of players. Anthony Siegler was a waste of a roster spot at the moment. I really like Anthony Siegler. He makes good decisions at the plate. There you go. That's what people will say. He makes good decisions at the plate. But he was never going to, he hasn't done anything in a while. He hasn't had success. And when you haven't had success for a stretch, what are you going to do? I mean, honestly, you can't just keep that guy in the lineup. You can't just keep trying to plug him in there and hoping. His defense wasn't even good. So it's not even like, and I hate taking shots at the guy, but his defense was struggling. He had a few errors over there too, over the last couple weeks. Some big ones. I think they were in that Giants series. He had some big errors at third base. He wasn't an upgrade. He wasn't an improvement at the time. The dream or what we saw and if it was going to get better, maybe eventually. He had a hot stretch, but it just wasn't there. So when the Brewers, when I said it, I said it's simple. I thought it was simple. You have Andrew Monasterio, he can float around. But there was no way. Okay, who were you going to let go? Jake Bowers was hotter than a pistol coming up. And then you had Andrew Vaughn, who continues to be, he was your offense for the longest time, and now he's starting to hit again. And Rhys Hoskins, that is a dangerous bench bat in the postseason. You talk about lack of power and the Brewers not getting power at the deadline. Adding a guy back into your roster like Rhys Hoskins, simple. And yet, people wanted to make this seem like it was so difficult to do. So difficult. I get now you're down a position player who can spread it out, right? Play third, play short, whatever. Siegler was not that guy. I really don't. Siegler was not a guy late in the game where I'm throwing him out there. He's not a Blake Perkins defensively. He's not even a Caleb Durbin or a Jackson Churio defensively. He had some decent plays, but he also had some blunders. He did not have a trustworthy glove, in my opinion. So the Brewers made the right move by sending him down, also sending down Carlos Rodriguez, because I am so sick of Carlos Rodriguez getting called up because it hasn't been there. It really hasn't. It hasn't been there for him at the big league level. And we can't, he's like he's been we're getting our butt kicked, so we're going to throw him out there kind of guy for this team. You have other guys who can fill that kind of role. A Chad Patrick, you can keep up and just fill that kind of role. You have guys down. I mean, Robert Gasser eventually here. He can come up and fill that kind of role. You have guys who can fill that kind of role. Carlos Rodriguez did not fill that role. So I thought the Chad Patrick move was a good move too. Also moving and giving Freddie Peralta an extra day. I like that move all the way around. So the Brewers made the right moves, in my opinion. 100%. The right moves all the way around. And I'm not here complaining about it. If you guys have a different opinion on that one, definitely let me know. If you guys want to hit up the show at any point tonight here, make sure you're doing it. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. I love to hear you guys' opinion on the Brewers, the moves that they made today, Packers, Badgers, anything in between. Make sure you're shooting them in. I love to talk about it here with you tonight here on the show. So the Brewers make some moves. Packers, big win over the weekend against the Lions there. We're going to talk about that today here on the show. We're going to talk with Ummer here. We're going to talk with Christian. Kyle's going to stop by later on. We're going to talk to him about some NFL, a little bit of college football there. We have a whole boatload of things to get into tonight here on the show. So we are just getting rolling here tonight. We'll be back here after the quick commercial break. Christian's going to stop by. We're going to talk a little Badger football on the backside of the ad break. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, if you missed the last segment there with Christian, the Badger talk we just had, make sure you're checking it out next day across all podcast platforms, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Make sure you're following us across all social media platforms. I'll share the links there for all of the show information and everything like that. But this next segment here, the Fan Zone, is brought to you by Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com there. So this is, and as we do every at the end of the top of the hour, well, the end of the first hour going into the top of the hour, we love to do the Fan Zone, brought to you by Marshfield Motor Speedway. So questions, opinions from the fans that we'll share it on the show. And if it's a question, I'll answer it. If it's just an opinion, I'll just share the opinion. So if you want to be involved in this, message me on any social media platform. Otherwise, message me at 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. You can let me know your question, and it can be sent here into the Fan Zone. So this one comes out of the 715. It is, what was the point of signing Luis Urias? I mean, and this one looks like mostly Brewer questions here. So Urias basically just a depth piece. That's all it was. It was an experienced depth piece. They've seen this guy before. So signing him up, getting him down in AAA, working with him a little bit. Maybe if you need him at some point here. I thought, honestly, Urias would be an upgrade over Anthony Siegler. So I'm surprised they didn't try to make that move earlier. But now that Rhys Hoskins is back, I don't expect that move to be made anytime soon, unless if they need a bat or if somebody gets hurt. So that'd be my biggest thing there. Who will the Brewers keep at the end of the season, Rhys or Vaughn? Them both. I think they keep them both. I really do. I mean, having the power of Rhys Hoskins, Andrew Vaughn, and Jake Bauers all on the roster, all in the in your disposal. I think that's a huge bonus. So I'm keeping them both. I think they do keep them both there. We saw Jake Bauers' power last night, so you don't lose him. I don't think they try to get rid of Rhys Hoskins because they owe him a lot of money yet. So I think he stays. Plus, he's a veteran bat who's been to the postseason. So I don't know if you get rid of a guy like Rhys Hoskins there. Is stronger middle relief pitching needed? I talked about that earlier with Carlos Rodriguez. Good to see him. I thought it was good to see him go back down. Grant Anderson, though, back. I love Grant Anderson's been solid for this Brewers team all season long. So getting him back off the IL was huge. And then you have Aaron Ashby. He's been good. I think, Robert Gasser coming up would be solid. There is another question that somebody had that is going to answer this one, but a Jacob Mizorowski potentially in the bullpen. So kind of keeping an eye on that one there. Also, this last part to his question was, is Bauers slowly getting pushed out? I don't think Bauers will, because I think Pat Murphy loves bringing him off the bench there. So this one also comes out at 715, and this is one of those I was just talking about there with the Mizorowski. Who do you think Mizorowski's role? What do you think Mizorowski's role is in the postseason for the Brewers? I'd almost like to see him in the bullpen where you could get 3 to 4 appearances out of him. I agree. The other night, he had his best outing in a very long time, the other day, he had his best outing in a very long time, his longest outing in a very long time. It was great, but it's very hit or miss. And can you see that consistently? We haven't. Jacob Mizorowski, you move him to the bullpen, you put him in that long relief role, or maybe you have him be a start, opener, and then you go to a Robert Gasser or maybe even a Quintana after Mizorowski. I'm in with that. Or you go Quintana to Mizorowski. You go from 70 miles per hour up to 102. Just the change in speed there would be a big thing. But I'm definitely considering Jacob Mizorowski for the bullpen, and I'm kind of leaning towards him being a bullpen role in the postseason. I don't see him as a starter. I think you have Woodruff. I think you have Freddie. I think you have Priester. I don't think there's any other way to put it. And then in your fourth spot, if you have a fourth spot, you never need a fifth spot. Sometimes you don't even need a 4. But if you needed a 4, Quintana. And then maybe you go to Mizorowski after him. But that's where I'm kind of at with that one. Plus, you're going to have Logan Henderson coming back. They're talking an October return for Logan Henderson, end of September, maybe October, maybe, right? So it could be potentially something to keep an eye on there with that kind of move. But Robert Gasser is definitely a guy that I'm looking at right now. Last question that we had, not last question here, so I got a couple more here, but this question was, did Micah play more or less than expected? What was the expectation? I thought he played actually about what I expected. He played 45 snaps. I thought maybe he'd be about 50%, so he played about 50% of the snaps. I thought that was about expected out of Micah Parsons in week 1 there. I know that he wanted to ramp it up, and I know the Packers will probably ramp him up going into week 2, maybe give him a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to be crazy, but I know they're probably going to deploy him a little bit more out there in this upcoming game here. So we could see a little bit more out of Micah Parsons in week 2. So what was the expectation? I think that was about the expectation for him there. Thoughts on if the Badgers play against Bama like they did in the second half? If they play against Bama like they did in the second half against Middle Tennessee, I think it looks like more of a game. It's still the difference between Middle Tennessee and Bama. I liked what I saw, the play calling and everything like that, but like Christian and I just talked about here early on in the show there, the offensive line for the Badgers, that's my biggest question mark, and it's going to continue to be my biggest question mark. So if they're healthy up front there, does that change it? Yes, but how much does it change it is a question mark. Even when they're healthy, that offensive line is still a big question mark. So that's kind of where I'm watching in this one. They got to get the run game going against Bama to have any kind of success. And I'm talking Dupree and I'm talking Dillion Jones. They got to get those two going. You can't just rely on Danny O'Neal and his arm in this one. You got to be able to rely on a little bit of help there from some of your running backs. And it's not a lot of fans, like we talked about in the first couple segments, a lot of fans pointing towards the running backs, blaming them. I'm not blaming the running backs. I'm looking at the offensive line. The offensive line was bad. So another question, or not another question, but they said, how about that Loyal Greenwood football team right now? Loyal Greenwood football team has been fantastic. 3-0 start for them there. I believe they kicked the snot out of Neilsville there, and then they got a big win against Marathon. It was a big win, a good Marathon team, 26-20, got the win there. They're going to have some tough games coming up, I believe. I don't know when they play Stratford. I know they got Stratford on the schedule at some point. Next up, they have Colby. Then they're going to have Amherst, then Wittenberg, Spencer Columbus, who just played a good game against Stratford, and then Wayawaga Fremont. And then they play Stratford to end the year. So there you go. There is their finishing of the CWC large division there. But they got a good start here. They won 24-12 against Abbotsford, and then won 50-0 against Neilsville, and then beat Marathon 26-20. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, pretty good Loyal Greenwood team to start here. We'll see if that continues here. And then the last question, excuse me there. I told you guys I had a cold. My voice is starting to go on me already in hour number 1. My mom, there you go. My mom texted in this show. She says, happy birthday to me. So thank you to her. And then she said, what awesome thing will you be grilling up using Casa and Spice for the Badger game? I talked about it a little bit earlier. I'm thinking about a brisket. I think I'm going to try out a little brisket there maybe for this one. Brisket. I just had ribs last weekend, but you can't go around with some ribs. So we'll see what happens there. A brisket, and then I don't know. Packers play tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to get something, get up there fast, and then it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting what I'm going to do for Packers and then what I'm going to do for the Badgers coming up here on Saturday. So there you go. There's a couple of the questions that we had coming off of the weekend there. So if you want to be involved in the Marshfield Motor Speedway fan zone, make sure you're doing it. Send your questions or opinions to me, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914 here. So we're going to be back after the ad break here. We're going to come back top of the hour. We're going to talk to Kyle about the NFL a little bit, what we saw, stock up, stock down after this last weekend here. We have some Packer talk with Omer coming up. We got some Brewer talk to wrap up the show here later on. We got a whole boatload of stuff to get to in hour number 2. So we'll be right back here after this quick commercial break on Wisconsin. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here for hour number 2 of the show here tonight. I hope you guys are enjoying your Wednesday tonight here. Kyle is stopping by here. We got lots to talk about. With the NFL. And before we get there, we got to mention a great sponsor of the show, and that is Badger Tree Care, the local tree care business serving Clark and surrounding counties. They do it all. Tree removal, tree primming and pruning, full cleanup, small lot clearing, and storm cleanup. They do it all. Trevor Barth there. Call them, 715-937-3276. That is 715-937-3276. Check out the Facebook page. I just shared some work that they just did on a local tree. I don't know, a local tree, but anyway, somebody's tree in their backyard there, and they did an awesome job. You couldn't even tell that they were there and took care of business. That was awesome. So, Kyle, how we doing? It's Wednesday. We're back. We're in the 6 o'clock hour now instead of being in the normal 8 o'clock hour. Now you're in the 6 o'clock hour. Kyle, how we doing?
Hey, I'm good. It's week 2. It already feels like the season's going by too fast, but it was a fun week to get everything kicked off, so I'm definitely loving it. And autumn's in the air, so it's all good for me.
It was awesome. It was an awesome weekend NFL. You had college football, you had baseball. Everything was happening. Yep. It was just awesome. I just want to get out of Arlington, though, Kyle. We're talking, like, as you guys know, we're pre-recorded. We're watching this Brewer game. I'm just like, I just want to get out of Texas. I just hate this team right now. They're just driving me absolutely nuts. So, Kyle, as you guys know, every single week, and if you guys have kept tabs on the show, you know that we do the Mellow Yellow Minute in honor of my grandpa, and because he loved trivia and he loved Mellow Yellow, so we call it the Mellow Yellow Minute. So Kyle is always the contestant, and if you guys are out there and you guys want to join in, make sure you're doing it. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. But we always pick a random trivia, like every week. We just do a random trivia, like top 5 this, top 5 that. And it's usually sometimes sports related, but most of the time we just think of random things to do. So this week, with autumn in the air, right, we decided let's do top soups because it's getting chilly. I had the cold over the weekend. I had a cold, so I was eating some soup. So Kyle, we're going to do top 5 soups.
Okay.
So I'm going to name them off, and you got to give me the top 5 soups back in order. So we have the classic chicken noodle. We have tomato. We have French onion. We have broccoli. And we have, this one's gross, clam chowder. So, Kyle, we got our top 5 soups here. What do you got? Let's go. Starting number 5. What is your number 5 soup on the list?
Okay, so let me see. Tomato, chicken noodle, clam chowder, French onion, broccoli, cheddar. Okay. So 5, I will go with. Let's go French onion 5.
You went French onion at 5, Kyle. Come on now. French onion deserves a little more respect than that.
Okay. I mean, out of the 5, that's probably the one I eat the least. But
you're not even gonna throw the yuck one on there, Kyle. Come on.
Well, I'm from Boston, so clam chowder is a big deal for me. But I mean, I guess I'll put clam chowder 5.
Clam chowder is number 5, and it should be number 5 on everybody's list. Clam chowder sucks, Kyle. I'm sorry. Anybody out there loves clam chowder? Respect. Me, I am not doing that. That's just crazy talk right there. So we got clam chowder comes in at number 5. What do we have? Number 4 on the list, Kyle.
4, I'm gonna go French onion 4.
French onion is number 4. So we're down to broccoli cheddar, tomato, and chicken noodle. What is your number 3?
3, I'm gonna go broccoli cheddar.
Broccoli cheddar's not number 3.
Okay, I respect that. Then I'll go tomato.
Tomato is number 3. So you are between broccoli cheddar and chicken noodle for number 1 soup and number 2 soup, Kyle.
2, I will go broccoli cheddar.
Broccoli cheddar is number 2. So chicken noodle takes the top.
There we go.
That one made sense. I don't know. If you go more Midwest, clam chowder's like, like probably not rolling off the tongue there getting a clam chowder soup. So there's our list, top 5 soups. So if you guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We just like doing something a little different halfway through the show. Because why not? Because absolutely why not? Plus, it's my birthday, so I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean? It's my birthday. I can do whatever I want, right? So that's all that matters there. So, Kyle, let's flip to the NFL here. Let's get serious, right? We got to get serious. Let's get serious now.
Yes.
NFL talk. We don't get serious on this show. I mean, if you guys noticed throughout the show, we don't get serious. Okay, let's just go with this. Stock up, stock down. We're going to do a little segment here. Stock up, stock down. Whose stock is up after week 1? Which teams, if you looked at them right now, you ran down a quick list for me. You don't have to give me crazy reasons. Like, you can give me a couple reasons, right? But whose stock is up and whose stock is down right now? Let's do stock up.
Stock up, I'm going the Chargers. I thought Friday, because they played in Brazil against the Chiefs. I thought that was a big step for them in the right direction where, they went up against the team in their division that's been a pain in their side. They coming into this year with a lot of people thinking that they could be the team to, unseat the Chiefs. Opening night, they look explosive offensively. I like what I saw from Herbert. He was very comfortable in the pocket. We saw him take off a few times. Like, he's not the most mobile guy because he is a bigger quarterback, but he was smart in his decisions of when he escaped the pocket. Quentin Johnson was making catches last year. He had issues with drops. And if he can produce between him, McConkey, and Keenan Allen, bringing him back, which I thought was a big move for them, that wide receiver group is going to give a lot of defensive coordinators headaches. Now, Slater was hurt on the offensive line, so people were wondering about how good the line was going to hold up. They held up well against a Chiefs team that defensively plays pretty well. So I definitely have them stock up, and I'm definitely seeing them as potentially, after 1 week, the best team in that division right now.
I like that. Stock up there, having the Chargers in that spot. What did you think? Let's just go with the crazy one here.
Okay.
What did you think of the Steelers after this weekend here against the Jets? I mean, just I don't know. Did you really expect what you saw out of the Steelers? I mean, what did you think of the Steelers? Because that's the big talking point, I guess, of the weekend there was Steelers versus Jets.
I guess with the Steelers, it's maybe the Tomlin effect. They're probably going to be part of the wild card conversation. Whether or not they get a spot, we'll see later in the year. But, offensively, Rodgers probably gives them a little bit more than Russ and Fields gave them last year. They still need to figure out the running game because at Aaron Rodgers' age, you don't want him to be like the catalyst, the sole catalyst on offense. You need some balance with him. I was a bit surprised by their defense and how much they gave up to the Jets, because I was surprised in how good Justin Fields looked against them. But, good win for them. good way for them to start their season. And for Rodgers, he said this is his last year. Off to a good start.
Look good. I mean, he looks solid in game one. Did he look like crazy good? No, I mean, he don't go crazy good, but he looks solid. And that's all that matters at the end of the day if you're a Steelers fan, because a lot of people out there are writing him off and saying this is going to be Mike Tomlin's first losing season.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of pressure on this one for Mike Tomlin and Rodgers himself to see what they can do together there. So let's go stock down. Which team had a little bit of struggle for you this last week?
Stock down. I guess I'll go with Miami, only because of the way that they looked against an opponent that not a lot of people are giving, any credit to in the Colts. The Dolphins look disinterested. We're seeing infighting with Tyreek Hill getting frustrated. Tua looked rough. Mike McDaniel, this is a big year for him, and for that to be the way that they come out, he has to know he's in the crosshairs with that organization, because he hasn't really lived up to the offensive genius moniker that he had when they hired him. And that offense looked terrible. So they're a team that if they start off slow, it could get really ugly down in Miami with just the frustrations we saw this past weekend. So they're definitely stocked down for me.
Didn't Danny Dimes just look fun, though? Didn't that just look fun? And now you're questioning Dable and you're questioning that entire Giants organization if they were the problem or if Jones was the problem. That just made some fun controversy over this last weekend there. So, all in all, so we got stock up, stock down. Yeah, that Dolphins team is really, I don't even, oh man, that's ugly. They got him. Mike McDaniel's got to go away. I am convinced that he cannot be the head coach of that football team. And if they want him to be, it's going to continue to be like this because it hasn't gotten better. Since they went to the playoffs one time, it hadn't gotten better. So what do you want? What more do you want out of this? So let's talk about, grand scheme of things. Was there a game this last weekend or games that stood out to you more over the rest? Was there a tone-setting game or one that you didn't really expect to go that way? Tell me about the games this weekend here. Some big surprises to you.
I feel like a statement game, Bills and the way that they came back against the Ravens, down 2 scores, 5 minutes left, and Josh Allen went into MVP mode and willed that team back to victory. The defense did get the key fumble with Derrick Henry, but Josh Allen was throwing darts, throwing dimes, he was doing it all. And for them to come back against a good Baltimore Ravens team that looked dominant most of the night, I feel like that was Josh Allen's statement game. I feel like another team that probably stood out, I will say, the way that the Packers went after the Lions, that definitely was a statement. I'm one of those who believes the Packers could be the best team in the division. After 1 week, they are the best team in that division. Offensively, the wide receivers, Golden brings something to that wide receiver group that I don't know we can necessarily measure yet, but it just is a dynamic group. Jacobs didn't even run necessarily well, but when you need him, he's very capable. And to take down the Lions the way that they did definitely caught my eye. Those are 2 games that really stood out from this past weekend.
That's why we keep bringing Kyle back on, because he says things like that about the Packers. So that's why we bring him back on every single week.
I'm a big Jordan Love fan. So yeah.
He loves him some Jay Love there. I would agree. I don't know if it speaks more volumes to what Josh Allen and the Bills are or what the Ravens. Yeah. To blow a lead like that. That's also alarming if you are the Ravens. And now you feel bad for the Browns this week because they're just going to get completely dismantled because Ravens-Browns face each other this week here. So that's going to be ugly by the time that thing's done there. But, just a interesting first week of games, I would say, in total there. The Cowboys, they held true to the Eagles there a little bit in that one. Mm-hmm. We saw, close ones across. There's a lot of close games across the board there. Bengals in a close one. The biggest, I guess, what was the biggest blowout of the weekend would probably be, the biggest blowout was the Colts and Dolphins.
Yeah.
If I would have told you that, you would have probably said no. There ain't no way. There ain't no way that's going to be the one game that's going to be a blowout. But no, that was definitely the one game that was a blowout there. So, Kyle, any final thoughts, you want to put a bow on this week 2 Or week 1, right? Week 1. Goodness gracious,
Yeah.
I'm already in week 2. Oh my gosh. It's because we got Packers Commanders coming up tomorrow there. So I'm just like in week 2 already. Put a bow on week 1 for me before I get crazy and get to week 2. Put a bow on it. Any final thoughts on week 1 of this NFL season?
I mean, look, I think it was a very interesting week from beginning of the Thursday night, that great game. All the primetime games really were good. Even with the way the week ended with Vikings and Bears, I thought that was great cinema, seeing the new look Bears versus JJ McCarthy, who's basically a rookie, and he looked bad for about 3 quarters, but in winning time, he actually showed up. So if you're a Vikings fan, you should feel better about your team. And as the Bears, I feel like you can be a little hesitant to necessarily be worried. I think they'll be fine. But yeah, it was just a great week all around. A lot of close games besides the Miami Colts one, but great way to start the season.
Yep. No, 100%. I would 100% agree with you. A great way to start the season. So, Kyle, thank you as always for stopping by. Let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
Yeah, so if you just look up Chomping at the Bit, Facebook, YouTube would probably be the easiest, and then you can find my other social links on those 2 platforms and go from there. Look me up.
He's got great stuff there. Make sure you're checking him out. He's right now we're NFL mode, but once the NBA comes back, he's going to be all about NBA. He's going to be all into everything. He gets to all over the place. So make sure you're checking him out, chopping at the bit. So Kyle, thank you as always. We'll be back here after the quick commercial break. We got Ummer stopping by. We got Packers to talk about, a big win for the Green Bay Packers against the Lions. So we're going to talk about that on the backside of the ad break. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go.